Good evening, I'm Ryan Bonazzo. Thank you for joining us. The federal vote is now upon us. People across the Northwest and around the country are heading to the polls today. Ballots can be cast until 9:30 this evening, and full results may not be known until the early morning hours or longer due to the number of mail-in ballots. According to officials at the two returning offices, the number of voters coming to local polling stations was steady throughout the day today, with no major issues reported. There are about 64,000 eligible voters in Thunder Bay Rainy River and about 65,000 in Thunder Bay Superior North. Many people chose to vote early in the advanced polls, which likely helped reduce lineups today. Many pollsters are predicting another minority government. We asked local voters how they feel about that.
It sometimes keeps the party and the country from advancing their agenda.
I don't think the country has enough of an agreement on who they want to run it right now to be able to be really happy with a majority.
I know every time we have a majority government, it's a lot of power for one group of people. So with a minority, I think it might serve as a sort of check and balance on that.
It makes it seem like the election is a bit of a waste of time because we're going from one minority to another minority.
I always think that there's a good thing with minority government. There's more people making decisions and having to work together with the different governing bodies and stuff like that. So sometimes that's helpful.
As we mentioned, winners in the two ridings may not be decided tonight. If the two races are tight, it may come down to mail-in votes, which don't begin being counted until tomorrow. According to Elections Canada, almost 1,900 mail-in ballots were received in Thunder Bay Rainy River, while about 2,300 votes were cast by mail in Thunder Bay Superior North. There's good news on the COVID-19 front in this area. The number of active cases in the Thunder Bay district has dropped over the weekend. The health unit is reporting one new case since its last update on Friday. It comes from a First Nation community and the exposure source is unknown. There are now 4 active cases across the district. That's down from 10 prior to the weekend. Meanwhile, the Northwestern Health Unit is reporting 5 new cases today. 3 come from the Rainy River District. The other 2 are in the Dryden-Red Lake region. There are now 12 active cases across the NWHU catchment area, 1 more than on Friday. Honoring missing and murdered Indigenous people. The Full Moon Memory Walk has returned for the first time since 2019 after the pandemic halted the march last year. Today's walk through the streets of Thunder Bay began at City Hall and ended at the Nebeng-McIntyre floodway. Kurt Black was on the scene.
For Sharon Johnson, the Full Moon Memory Walk gives those in the community who, like her, have lost loved ones the opportunity to grieve and heal together as a community. That is why she is relieved that the walk will be continuing with the assistance of her friend Elizabeth Dawn Monroe.
It's not only for the lives that were lost or the people that are missing, but it's also for us here that are still here, right? We need that healing and we need that support from the community.
Johnson was unsure whether the walk would continue after 2019, as she had decided to no longer organize the event. That was when Monroe stepped up to assist after running similar events in Winnipeg for many years. Monroe said it was an easy decision to step up and assist in the walk and hopes that more people will get involved in the future.
Because Sharon was given a new duty to do, and she asked my mother and I if we would step up and do something for this, and yeah, we will, because it's very important, right? And I wish more people would get more involved.
Kurt Black, TBT News.
A 25-year-old man has been arrested in connection with a disturbing incident yesterday morning. He's accused of assaulting a senior citizen and then subsequently lighting his own clothing on fire while in custody. It all began just after 7:30 Sunday morning. Police say the 74-year-old male victim asked the man to leave his property. The accused then reportedly attacked the victim, who had to be taken to hospital for treatment. Police arrested the alleged attacker about 30 minutes later. He was taken to the police station. That's where he's said to have managed to light an article of his own clothing on fire. The fire was extinguished, and the man now faces a number of charges. Meanwhile, Thunder Bay police are also investigating the serious assault of a youth on Saturday afternoon that was filmed and shared on social media. Police say a group of suspects surrounded a young female at or near the parking lot of the Mary J. L. Black Library. Police are asking people not to continue to share the video. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to contact Thunder Bay Police or Crime Stoppers. Well, Wake the Giant certainly woke Thunder Bay over the weekend. The city's first live concert at the waterfront since the pandemic began attracted more than 3,500 screaming fans, happy to finally experience live music once again. Mitchell Ringos has the story.
The Wake the Giant Music Festival was put on once again with the goal of creating a more inclusive city, but also to welcome hundreds of Indigenous youth who attend school from remote communities into the city. The kids of Dennis Franklin Camardi attended events over the 3 days leading up to the concert, where they got VIP passes, got to throw balloons into the crowd, and even got to go up on stage. We talked to one DFC student, Lewis Chapman, on what the event means for the students.
I guess the whole game plan of this event is to try to bring all communities, all races, I guess you could say, together to form unity.
Do you think it's working?
I think so.
And the students were not the only ones living it up, as the Thunder Bay crowd was going absolutely crazy for the first big concert since the pandemic. The screaming crowd was dancing, clapping, and sitting on each other's shoulders, singing along to Loud Luxury, who brought EDM to the festival, playing some of the top songs out right now, which led perfectly into the final acts of Third Eye Blind and Jesse Reyes, who played crowd favorites to end off a night to remember. And with the addition of pyrotechnics and big-name artists, organizer for Wake the Giant, Sean Spenrath, says he heard nothing but praise for this year's festival.
Someone just summed it up best. I went to turn on the glow-in-the-dark balloons on the end of the festival grounds, came up to me and said, "Sean, I think you guys just set a precedent for what Thunder Bay Music Festival should be. An absolute banger."
And with this year's festival having such a good reaction from the public and from the artists, Spenrath says the Wake the Giant Music Festival will continue to bring this level of entertainment for years to come, and hopes this year can intrigue even more big-name artists to make the trip down to Thunder Bay. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Well, a welcome return to some degree of normalcy, to be sure. Thunder Bay City Council will vote on a proposed bylaw tonight aimed at reducing the number of abandoned shopping carts in the city, and the debate over selling city parkades returns to council. They're expected to decide whether or not they want to move forward on cutting ties with the two parking structures. The parkades lose the city about $380,000 annually, but some members of council think divesting of them should wait until the downtown cores are revitalized, when they may be needed most.
I fully support, the idea of, in maybe several years looking at potential buyers or some options. But right now, it's I think it would be really short-sighted to take this, ginormous downtown, tool infrastructure off the table.
Meanwhile, at-large Councillor Peng Yu wants businesses to be held accountable for shopping carts scattered throughout the city. The latest proposal would require stores to craft a plan to manage and recover abandoned carts. If adopted, city staff would monitor the campaign for 3 years. Many parents and officials with the consortium that handles school busing in Thunder Bay were left scrambling this morning. 7 buses had to be canceled due to a driver shortage. 22 separate runs were affected. The shortage has been an ongoing issue in the city, heightened by the COVID-19 pandemic. Student Transportation Services Manager Craig Murphy says the cancellations were due to a lack of spare drivers to fill in. He says they're trying their best to fix the issue as soon as possible.
We're trying to find solutions. Obviously, the best solution is for our operators to be able to hire and train and license enough drivers to cover all the routes. We are also looking at our routes to see if we can move some stops around and try to accommodate any routes that are going to not be able to be serviced for long term.
Murphy says despite the problems, communication with parents and guardians has been good, noting there's been a huge uptake of users on the consortium's bus status app, website, and social media pages from parents wanting to get instant updates. Electricity is a crucial requirement to support the economy. Here in the Northwest, there are several hydro dams that provide power to the provincial grid, but the intense heat of this past summer has left some dams high and dry. Atikokan's Biomass generating station, however, was able to help keep the lights on in Ontario for the past few weeks. Adam Riley has details.
In a normal year, Ontario Power Generation's Atikokan Biomass station will experience anywhere from 120 to 140 startups, but those usually only last from a couple of hours to at most a day. However, for 3 weeks from late August to early September, the station pumped out power to the province 24/7. Part of the reason comes as a result of low water levels on area lakes and rivers, preventing hydroelectric dams from producing power. However, Chief Operating Officer Mark Nemi says that isn't the only reason that caused the Atikokan plant, which is capable of supplying 200,000 homes with power by itself, to pull some serious overtime.
The requirement for this need is some transmission system work that's happening east of Thunder Bay, part of the east-west grid upgrade. An endeavor that will increase the reliability to the electrical users in northwestern Ontario.
Atikokan is a former coal-fired plant that, like Thunder Bay, was refurbished into a biomass plant. However, unlike Thunder Bay, which was demolished earlier this month, there is still time left in its contract that is set to expire in 2024. Mayor Dennis Brown is hoping that contract will be extended considering the impact the facility has on the local economy, as some of the wood pellets used to produce power at the facility are manufactured at a plant in his community.
That's great for the area, and we certainly hope it keeps operating that way because it's important. And now with this climate change and so on, the biomass plant becomes more important. And it is crucial for Atikokan because of the taxes that they provide. They're right in our town.
The Atikokan generating station is now in a 7-week shutdown for maintenance, which was scheduled prior to the 3-week run. Nemi says it took several agencies a combined effort to make that run work, and there is potential for the need to have the plant run for an extended period again in late 2021 or early 2022. Adam Riley, TBT News.
Terry Fox's push to create a world free of cancer continues long after his death. The 41st annual Terry Fox Run for Cancer Research was held in Thunder Bay and across Canada yesterday. Once again, it had to be held virtually. Many people got started at the usual 2 p.m. time, with participants running, walking, or wheeling 5 kilometers in support of cancer research at a location of their choosing. The Thunder Bay event typically takes place at Boulevard Lake, but for the past 2 years, local Terry Fox Run chairperson Don Morrison and his family and friends ran the Boulevard trails on their own. Even though the event was virtual, Morrison says it's important to keep the run going to fundraise for such an important cause.
They've raised $850 million for cancer research over those number of years. So to keep the money flowing, to find a cure to cancer, we got to keep doing it. Terry ended his run here, so there's been a strong connection with Thunder Bay with the Terry Fox Run.
People can still make donations to the Cancer Research Fund online and purchase t-shirts as well. Morrison says even with the strong registration numbers this year, he hopes to see even more at next year's event. The goal is to get back to an in-person run next time around. The Rotary clubs of Thunder Bay recently gathered around the Rotary Peace Pole at Marina Park in advance of tomorrow's United Nations International Peace Day. Port Arthur Rotary is raising funds for a variety of international projects, including Shelter Box, which provides emergency shelter for those in need. Port Arthur Rotary President Jim Matter says everyone needs to reflect on how to make the world a more peaceful place to live.
Rotarians do contribute to peace in multiple ways. We support peace scholars who are involved with resolving conflict, all the way from that to individual types of donations and work. So things that you can do to support peace don't have to be earth-shaking. They can be something that each one of us as individuals can do. Encourage you all to consider that.
It's still something that needs fighting for, and it needs defending, and it needs action and advocacy. But we are in a better place, I think, than somehow some folks might have a perception. So, but thanks to the Rotary for hosting the event and for their continued support in the pursuit of peace.
Waging Peace is the theme of this year's International World Peace Day, which will be celebrated locally through an online event at noon tomorrow. It'll happen on Zoom and on the Port Arthur Rotary Club's Facebook page.
Well, Fiona, yesterday was the real last warm day of summer, I guess you could say, record-breaking in fact, and today